What are you doing today, Maureen? Georgia Candy Roasters. Welcome to the Farmhouse Kitchen. Yay! We haven't been here for a little while. Well, you haven't been here for a little while. I'm here all the time. But if you've seen my short about growing the Georgia Candy Roaster, this is the second one I picked. This one is 9 pounds. And so I want to process it today because I just baked bread. And so the Ferno oven is going. And so I thought, what better way to utilize the Ferno oven but to cook some squash in it? I do have a smaller one. I wanted to see what it's like where the skin is still quite soft. And so we're going to be processing both, I hope. I don't know if I have enough room out there in the oven because I can only put 2 cookie sheets in there, and this guy is pretty big. We are going to start our process. This one might have been right, but it actually had snapped itself off. The skin is a lot tougher. You can eat the skin. And also I have heard that the longer that you let these sit, the sweeter they get. You're supposed to cut it lengthwise, but this is a really long one. So I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half first, and then I'll cut the lengthwise parts. Now, one of the reasons why I decided to grow a candy roaster is because some of the other content creator homesteaders, they said this one tastes similar to a sweet potato. So we're going to be able to find that out. Okay. I've seen lots of recipes out there. Alrighty, so it's not super orange on the inside, so I don't know if this means that it's not as ripe as it could be. Smells like kind of pumpkin and also like a melon, so that's kind of interesting to me. So we will cut our other piece here, and then we will scoop out the seeds. If you've been following along, you've seen that I've got a lot of squashes. We are going to have a lot of squash food for quite some time. The great thing is, with your squashes, if you wipe them down with apple cider vinegar and store them in a cool, dry place, they will last for months. Average time they do usually say is about 6 months. I've had spaghetti squash last over a year. It's a little drier at that point, but you know, you bake it up, you put some butter on it, and it's like, it's delish. This is quite hard to slice into, and I think the older it gets, the harder it will be, because the skin will just start to toughen up more. I almost need like a mallet or something, or to drop it on the floor. I'm just gonna see if I can just, there we go. There's our first 2 halves, and now this other one is bigger, so I think could be a little bit harder to get into. I do wonder if it's not quite ripe, but I'm okay with that. It'll cook up just fine. If you have any squash recipes that are tried and true and you go, they're just so fantastic and wonderful, I'd love for you to drop it down in the comments. Tell me why you really love it. And because I will be looking for lots of recipes. And Marissa and I were talking about it because I have so many different new squashes this year. We were thinking I should do a squash a week, process one just so that I get something new. So one of the things that is my favorite is any sort of squash soup, but it needs to be cooked in crispy sage butter. That is fantastic. I did a brown butter crispy sage butternut squash soup last year. Oh my gosh, so good. So that's my first one that I will be going after. Let's try this way. I know it looks dangerous. Let's see if I can get back out. I have been known to injure myself. Nothing huge. There'll be the odd time I'll get a little nick, but this being as tough as it is. All right, let's just see. Oh yeah, we're not anywhere near close. Oh my, boy, that seed is gorgeous. Look at that. Gotta have to save that. I'm sure the chickens will be, oh, there we go. I'm getting, well, mind you, I think I'm just cutting. I'm cutting where it's already cut. Okay, we are getting close. Robert, you don't have to worry anymore. All right, the second half's done. So we're just going to scrape out the seeds. Yeah, there's not a lot of seeds in here. Well, mind you, this is a smaller half. And then we'll do this one. This one, because it had broken off from the vine, that's basically why it was picked. I've got more out there that I'm going to let get to proper maturity. But this just is giving me the opportunity to actually process it so I know what it tastes like. So as if I have people that are interested in buying one, I can tell them what it tastes like. Yeah, it's just a few seeds in this one. Now, I have heard people cutting them into slices, and I'm just wondering if I should do that or if I should just leave them whole. It all kind of depends on how many I can get on to the cookie sheet. So if I kind of go one way, the other way, one way, the other way. Okay, that's not bad. I think that might just work, kind of, sorta. We can just squeeze him in there. Mind you, the other one is smaller. So we'll set that aside. And now we'll do this one. Because I want to, you know, what does it taste like when it's not as mature and the skin is still really soft? So this one, I think I will do the same thing. Oh yeah, see, it's very, very green inside. It could be that cooking them this young will be a bust, but we will see. So there is quite a few more seeds in this one. I think I'll just leave them in the long halves. Yeah, this one has lots of seeds. They're not fully matured seeds though. But those will be lovely for the chickens. And this one had quite a few seeds in there. That's quite a good spoonful. And then with our second pan, we can have one big one. A small one will fit there. Yeah, this is gonna work. This is gonna work well. Excellent. I'm uncertain if I would turn these into sweet things or savory things. So I'm just going to put olive oil on, but we're just gonna do a few little stabs in the centers of each one. And then I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil on them. I would put butter as well, but I think I'm just gonna stick to the olive oil today. 2 ages of a Georgia candy roaster that we're gonna go put into the forno oven. I think I can only take one at a time. That's too heavy. Brought the bigger one first. So we're still sitting at 700 degrees. And I think this one, I should put it on the top because it needs more room. Our first one and our second one. So, yeah, those tall ones wouldn't have fit really well. Are you gonna get in there? You're in there, good. Let's close that up. Just going to add a little more fuel. So I'll check it in about an hour and we'll see how it's going. Those big ones could need, a bit more time, but I will set the timer, check in an hour and see how it is, and we'll go from there. It is pretty hot, and there is part of me thinking, should I actually have them covered as well? But at this point, this is what we're going with. Okay, it's done. Somebody didn't set the timer, but I just checked it. It looks good. Look at that. It's down to about 500, but it's super, super soft. So we're gonna pull these little babies out. I see I've got it on an angle. See if that'll come out easy. So here's the big one. And here is the smaller one. So it looks very interesting. It does need to cool for a little bit, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little taste test, one of the big ones and one of the small ones, just to kind of do a comparison. So I think I'll just take a little piece of this one here, and then I'll take a little piece of this one here. I'm not going to put any butter or anything on it, even though, that's one of the best ways to get butter into your system. These are the vehicles. So this is a small, super smooth. There's a bit of smokiness from the fire. And then this is the large one. This one is very mashable. Like, it feels like I'm eating potato. Not super sweet, but I think that is to do with the fact that these were not completely ripe, but they are tasty. Again, it's got that smoky flavor from the forno oven. But interesting that they're very different in their textures. Like, I could literally mash this just like a mashed potato. I could serve it as a potato and you wouldn't know the difference except for the color and the flavor, of course. But I do like that. I look forward to trying them out when they are fully ripe. So let these cool, and then we're gonna do a process. We have our brown butter, all frothy and nice and brown. There is a little bit of olive oil also in there. And I'm just gonna start with the sage. So we will just drop our sage in. This is fresh sage from my yard. Some of them are a little on the big side. Smells delicious. We'll just keep turning it a little bit so that it gets that nice crispness, and it's gonna, take all of the flavor out of the sage and flavor our butter. Now some of these are done. This one is, I could let it go a little bit more, but see how it's nice and stiff, so we can set that aside. This one I think as well, seems like it's nice and stiff, so we can also set him aside. And just the last few pieces. I decided to not put them on top of the paper towel because that's all flavor that I can take with me. And there's a couple little pieces in there, but we're just gonna take it and drop our brown butter into our pan. And I do have a little bit of butter in there already. We're gonna add in our chopped carrots in, and our onions. And we're just gonna saute this. Now I could do them in layers, but because I'm just going to be blending this all at the very end, it really doesn't matter. And I just wanna kinda get them softening up a little bit and sauteing. And I put the carrots in because I just like it for the extra color and the extra sweetness. The onions, for their medicinal properties. And you could also throw garlic in. This is just kind of a no-brainer, quick soup that you can throw together quickly. This one I will be making it completely vegetarian. While it's sauteing, we're gonna just take out our squash. This is the younger squash. I'm gonna do all of it, but you know, we've got this nice scorch marks on it, so it adds that nice smokiness. And I do just wanna give it a little bit of a rough chop. And I am leaving the skins on as well. The skins are completely fine. They'll add more flavor, more robustness to what we've got going on here. Back to check on our veggies. Just keep giving them a stir, sweating them out. Oh, that smells good. Now I've got some veggie soup base that I canned up, so I'm going to be adding that in there. I'm also going to add 1 quart of squash soup base that I had made before. And this is all designed so that you can add different flavors to it. I'm just gonna rinse out our bottoms of our jars with a bit of water. I would normally, you know, use my turkey broth, but I just thought this was a good opportunity to use up my veggie soup base and to keep this soup vegetarian. So I've added all that extra liquid to help, you know, kind of speed up the cooking of the carrots. And then I'm gonna add in a big sprig of dried sage from my garden from last year. So we're gonna throw that in there too. All right, well, we have got some good boiling action going on here. I'm going to do a preliminary immersion blender blend just so that I get these smaller pieces done. And I've turned down my temp, but I just wanna kind of get in there and get it all done. All right, I think that's probably enough for now. Even that's pretty thick. I have a feeling I'm going to be adding more broth to it. We're gonna add in younger squash. And now I'm gonna add in the more mature Georgia candy roaster. But this one I'm a little concerned because there is so much. I'm gonna do it in batches. Oh, it's getting big. Last one. So this is going to be squash for days. I should have probably done a taste test of our soup base just to see what I needed to put into it, but I'm just gonna get this heated up and then we're gonna immersion blend it and go from there. Got it mostly blended, but I do see I need to add a little bit more water. Now the little flecks, of course, is the skin. You can peel yours. So that was a little bit better. I probably will add in just a little bit more water, but in the meantime, I'm gonna add in some fresh cracked pepper. And we'll add in our little bit more water because I just wanna thin it out a little bit more. And then we're gonna do a taste test just to see what else we might need. One more time with the immersion blender just to smooth it out a little bit more, but let's do a little taste test. When I serve it, I do put cream in it. That's so good. Oh, that's really good. But yeah, it's still a little too, whoops. But yeah, it's still a little thick. I might add a little bit of salt. I want more sage though. I love sage. Okay, she be a poppin', so let's get a little bit more water in there. Just to thin it out. And I am gonna drop quite a bit more sage just because I like it. And then we'll add a little bit of coarse salt in. Just a bit. I do put all the sticks in because the immersion blender just takes them right down. So we're gonna just serve it up into bowls, and I went to go look for my cream and I don't have any. So we're gonna substitute and just put a little dollop of sour cream on the top of it then. Then we're gonna add our crispy sage just on top, which I love. And we have some fresh sourdough bread. So we will add that to our plates. Bon appetito. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. There will be more squash recipes coming out in the future because you've seen I have an abundance of squash. Take care and God bless.